another one.
Transitioning from front-end development to DevOps or quality assurance, and you are seeking advice. All right. I'm currently a front-end developer with experience of 2 years building web applications with React, Next.js. I mostly work on front end, but have good knowledge of backends using Node as I did for my personal projects. I tried problem solving in code forces and leet code to get better, but always gave up after a half of a month because how difficult it was for me to solve the easiest problems. But the problem is with the addition of AI, I'm very worried I won't be able to sustain unless I become a very good software developer with problem solving skills or switch my career path. So so here we go. Instead of instead of enhancing your problem solving skills, we're going to go. So lately, I've been contemplating a transition in my career path towards either DevOps or quality assurance QA engineering. I have a fundamental knowledge of networking, GitHub, and basics of AWS. I had the pleasure of working with QA as a front end developer, but I really need some advice on which path might be easier to transition into DevOps or QA engineering. I understand that both fields have their own unique skill set and demand, but I'm looking for insight from those who have made similar transitions or have experience in these areas. I am lost at deciding at the moment. If you have any recommendations, insights, or personal experience to share, I would greatly appreciate it. I am absolutely offended. I'm offended. Why am I offended? Why am I offended? I am offended because the implication of this question is that only software developers have to deal with problem solving skills. You could not be further from the truth, my friend. DevOps, QA, software engineer, cybersecurity, everything in life has to do with problem solving. Your whole life is about problem solving. Since the day you were coming out of the womb, you had to figure out how to get out of there. That was a problem you had to solve. I'll see my kid waddling around trying to figure out how something works. Figuring out how to use the phone, how to use the tablet, how to turn on the TV, how to put it on Cocomelon. Everything is about problem solving. So when you say that you would rather switch your career from being a software developer because you don't have any problem solving skills and go to DevOps, I do DevOps work, Terraform infrastructure as code. I've been doing it for since September, every Sunday, about 2 to 3 hours since September. And you don't know how many times we had to do a part one, part two, part three, because of we had to figure out the problem and then how to code it. How long have we been? How many Thursdays have we been working on Calculus Coder, coming across issues, fixing the issues? Like when I think about we got jokes. All right. See, this is why I don't look at the chat because Mitch has jokes, right? Let me play this for Mitch. This is for you, Mitch. There you go. But I didn't even start the clock. I'll put 3 minutes on. Oops. Where's 3 minutes? I'll put 3 minutes. Actually, no, I'll put 5. So yeah, but DevOps, it has its own set of challenges that you have to figure out. What's the best way to set up the server? What's the tools that are needed? What's the infrastructure that's needed? Are we going to use Packer? Are we going to use Ansible? Are we going to be using Terraform? Are we going to be setting it up through Google Cloud? Are we going to be doing it through AWS? Are we going to use Azure? What type of security are we going to have in place? How are we going to work with the developers? What is the CI/CD pipeline that we're going to be using? Everything that I just asked, that's a problem that needs to be solved. Everything that I just asked is a problem that needs to be solved. quality assurance. Let's get to QA. Okay, how are we going to test this? What are the requirements? What is the acceptance criteria? Can we automate it? Is it a mobile application? Is it a desktop application? Is it a web application? Do we have the tools and the resources that we need to do it? How are we going to be releasing? Are we going to be releasing story by story? Are we going to be releasing sprint by sprint? These are all these are all the problems that come in with every single role. And I'm sure if I asked about cybersecurity to Socks or to Pluto, if I asked about data to Mitch, there's problems that they need to solve, because why would they hire you if there's not a problem that needs to be solved? So you're worried about because you know you have trouble with code forces and lead code. Why don't you just build something? Why don't you push yourself to build something complicated? Y- You would think the application that I'm building with my tech barbarians, super simple, right? Super simple. But the infrastructure behind it is complicated. It's not easy. When we started this application, well, not even when we started, because when we started, like, most people didn't know anything, and now their skill level is up here. They were like down here. They're down here. Their skill level is up here now. Knowing about databases, about Docker, about I didn't even mention Docker. I didn't even mention Docker. Docker is a huge part of this whole ecosystem. Containers, images, all stuff that are related to DevOps. So uh, when you're focused on, oh, how can I best write this code, and lead code and stuff like that. I know some companies ask for lead code and stuff like that. I couldn't care less about lead code and code force and all that stuff. I care about, what did you build? Real life examples. So and that's why I love the chaos camp that Don has built, and we were working on that last year, and we're working on like the code wars and stuff like that. But I said, you know what? Let's build stuff, and that's why we transitioned to the Flutter in the morning, building practical applications. And you'll see me. I'm like, okay, I need to put this dialog box for this error. How do I do that? And you see me researching it with you, and then I'll, after the stream is over, I keep researching. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I come back and I show, okay, this is how we did it. This is the code behind it. Problem solving. If you have trouble solving problems, it's easy fix. It's GOOGL. Google it. Stack Overflow is your best friend. See, you're worried about AI, but you're trying to run to AI. You're trying to run from AI instead of just getting better. Focusing on the right things. Like, you think doing lead code and stuff like that is what's going to make you a developer or something like that. It just means you can solve problems that don't really have much value. And when I was doing code wars, right? I'll tell you this. When I was doing code wars, and I look at some of the solutions that people would give, they would give like these one line solutions that work, but they're incomprehensible. And if you see the way that I write my code, I make it very, very legible for when my future self comes back to it tomorrow, and I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Versus, what the hell does that mean? So I would say, regardless of whether you're going to software development or staying in software development, or going to DevOps or going to quality assurance, you're going to be hired to solve problems. And if you're running from solving problems, then maybe you're in the wrong field. I mean, even if you work at a, at Dunkin' Donuts, right? Even if you work at Dunkin' Donuts, you're still solving somebody's problem, because they need coffee, they need a donut, they need a sandwich. You're solving a problem for them. You being able to make it or take their money, operate the cash register, if those places even still have people, but if they do, you're solving a problem for them. So every single thing you do in life is solving a problem. Think about that. All right. So that's what I leave you with. That is what I leave you with.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.